listen in here to see as the Tribune editorial board people start asking some questions. So let's let them take it away.
He's not really telling us what the change is. There's a persistent call for some specifics. So I hope we can get to that today. I'd like first to ask you, if you came to my door, I opened the door, you wanted to make the pitch for a vote, I said you got 90 seconds before I slam the door. What would you tell me, Governor?
Well, I inherited a terrible situation in Illinois. We had an ethics crisis. The Great Recession was going on and affected our state budget, and I had to rescue Illinois from all those crises, and I think we've done that over the last 5 years. We've made great strides in the right direction. Our unemployment is down significantly. We've been able to pay down bills by about $6 billion. And at the same time, we've enacted strong ethics standards that we've enforced. I think it's very important to have all that going in Illinois. I had to make tough decisions regarding things like reforming Medicaid, like unemployment insurance reform, workmen's compensation reform. We've had to make budget reductions that were difficult, closing facilities, more than 50 of them. But we've been able, not only by reducing the budget, but also by getting proper revenue for our schools to do the right thing for the people of Illinois. My heart is at the service of the people of Illinois. It always has been from the day I entered public office, and I think I'm an ethical leader who will take Illinois to ever greater heights.
Thank you.
This is one of the most important elections in Illinois' history. We've become the worst-run state in America. We have been run by 3 people for years and years: Pat Quinn, Rod Blagojevich, and Mike Madigan. They are the trio of terrible government. We have out-of-control spending, broken budgets, defunded schools, shredding social services safety net, jobs leaving, people giving up looking for work, 4,000 jobs lost this year alone. We are in an economic death spiral. Pat Quinn has extended the policies of Rod Blagojevich. They are the same ilk. They take the same money from the same special interest groups. They've engaged in the same cronyism, patronage hiring. He's under federal investigation for corruption, just like his partner Rod Blagojevich was. He defended Rod Blagojevich as an honest guy who always does the right thing, even after Blagojevich was under indictment. He got his start doing patronage for Dan Walker, who went to prison. We have a broken system, a one-party system of corruption, patronage, and cronyism. We need to go in a fundamentally different direction. This trio of government, Pat Quinn, Rod Blagojevich, and Mike Madigan, have got to go. We need a government that works for the people again, that is pro-growth, pro-job creation, that will bring down the tax burden on our working families in this state, will properly fund our schools rather than cutting our schools by $500 million like Pat Quinn's done. And we need to rip corruption out by its roots. Pat Quinn used to support term limits. He's turned out to be a phony. He's had 6 years to push term limits, has not lifted a finger to do it. We need to go in a fundamentally different direction. I'm a successful executive who's driven results. I've worked for teachers and state troopers and taxpayers for years, delivered great results, and I can't be bought, bribed, or intimidated. I can stand up to the special interests.
Same question for the Lieutenant Governor candidate. With one caveat: you're running for an office that really doesn't need to exist. What difference are you going to make? 60 seconds, please.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me here this morning, as well as Bruce. I'm very humbled to be here today. Right now, we're in a great position in that each gubernatorial candidate gets to pick his running mate. So the taxpayer gets his bang for his buck, because I'm like-minded to Bruce. And when we travel the state, we are in sync. We believe in the same policies, and that's good for the people. Bruce and I are here to deliver on the same 4 points that we've been running on for the last year, which is everyone, no matter whether you're Democrat or Republican, we all want school reform. We want better schools for our kids. Everyone, all Illinois families, want a lower tax burden. We also want term limits. Even though the Illinois Supreme Court chose not to hear us this time around, we will continue on our fight. And also, we want businesses to come back to Illinois and stay in Illinois. It's on those 4 points that we're running on. And I'll be running as Bruce's partner, which is a great thing during this time. Thank you very much again.
Well, great. First of all, it's been a long time since I was here. It's a pleasure for me to be here. I've known Pat for about 30 years. And if I'm knocking on people's doors, the point that I make is threefold. Governor's always been an outsider. He's always been a reformer. Citizens Utility Board. You can go through the list of efforts that he's made to make Illinois a better place. Secondly, he did inherit a dire situation. I think he's had some remarkable achievements on Medicaid and pension reform, et cetera. The $31 billion infrastructure program, paying down the bills by $6 billion. And third, he's offered a vision for the future in contrast to our opponent. I mean, how do you cut the general funds $8 billion and then say in paid commercials that you're going to increase infrastructure spending, you're going to increase funding for education, you're going to freeze people's local property taxes, you're going to you're going to avoid, you're going to expand the latest, you're going to expand early childhood education. The numbers simply don't add up. You've got to be honest with the taxpayers. You've got to lay out a plan that is substantive, just not promise everyone virtually everything with no pain or sacrifice.
Thank you.
So both of you have issues in this race on which you're vulnerable. Mr. Rauner, people have a lot of questions about your business dealings, and even though you talk a lot about rooting out corruption, there have been some questions, legitimate ones, about whether you've engaged in pay-to-play in order to win some contracts with your business. Governor Quinn, as Mr. Vela said, you've always framed yourself as a reformer, and now you find yourself at the center of a federal criminal investigation and a patronage scandal at IDOT. So we're going to spend a couple minutes getting into those two issues, and I'd like to start with you, Mr. Rauner. Your company, subsidiaries of your company have been accused of being engaged in some preying on nursing homes. You were the chairman when your business moved into financing of trans health care. There were some indictments of Converge executives. You said the behavior inside large organizations is not always perfect. There was another accounting scandal at your document imaging firm, and your answer seems to be consistent, that the buck doesn't stop with you, that all of this happened too far down the ladder that you would have known. You wouldn't have known what was going on. Is that your answer?
It is the answer. We financed about 400 companies, and we've done an outstanding job. Hundreds and hundreds of businesses where we've generated great growth, economic improvement, and we've delivered great returns. And who we've been working for throughout my business career and in my business has been working families and taxpayers in Illinois and around America. We've been working for teachers, we've been working for state police officers, we've been working for government workers here in Illinois and around America, and we've done an outstanding job. We've generated well over double the stock market annual returns over the last 30+ years. We've saved taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars that they didn't have to put into the pensions because we did such a fantastic job. Were we perfect? No. Did some of the companies that we financed fail? Yes. Did certain executives that were hired by those particular companies engage in bad behavior? On a few instances, yes. As soon as we found out about the bad behavior, we encouraged the companies to take all appropriate actions and make sure that illegal behavior was punished. And we tried everything we could to build great companies. By and large, we did a phenomenal job. But you know what? Some companies, we have executives that failed us, failed their customers, and failed their shareholders. The reality is, most of our companies did, the vast majority, did a fantastic job, and we drove great results by and large, and we're proud of the track record of success.
How well did you know the executives of Converge X who were just indicted?
I did not know them. I wasn't on that board.
You didn't know them at all?
I did not.
What about the three officials with Laser when you were on the board of directors?
I was on that board. I knew those executives, and the CEO and the CFO cooperated with each other to implement a significant fraud on us and the company. As soon as it was uncovered, we helped encourage the investigation and prosecuted. Those folks go to jail.
Do you want to jump in on that?
Yes, well, he hired Mr. Rauerdink at Laysan. He was on the board. Mr. Rauerdink, according to the federal judge, when he was sentenced, the federal judge said that greed and avarice prevailed at this company that Mr. Rauner was on the board at the expense of the shareholders, the banks, the employees, and the customers. He was on the board. He handpicked the chief financial officer. Also, in the course of that activity, he made $32 million for himself, and the shareholders and others were cheated out of $285 million. So when my opponent talks about hand-picking superstars to be in charge of companies. This is a classic example of what was said to be one of the biggest accounting frauds in American history. That was his company. He ran out the door, took the profits, and left all the shareholders and customers and workers holding the bag. With respect to other matters as well, the nursing homes, you have to be accountable. You just can't run out the door, collect the money, and leave vulnerable people suffering.